Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Today is November 15th. I'm so excited to chat with y'all tonight and hang out. Next week, there will be no Wind Down Wednesday because of the holiday. But for tonight, go ahead and grab what you need to get comfortable, and I'll see you back here in about 30 seconds. All right, everybody, how is it going? We are almost to the point where we are having either like a fall break or a few days off next week. But I'm curious if you are joining us live tonight. Leave in the comments. Do you go up until Friday and then you have all of next week off? Or do students have some days off next week, but you're still reporting in? Every district is a little bit different. So leave it in the comments. But we're so excited. I'm really excited for tonight's topic because I have been like completely in my feelings today. And like I don't know why. I think it's a combination of a few different things, like the darkness, the constant darkness outside. Like I'm not made for that. I'm totally not cut out for that. And like it's also a season where I think I'm trying new things, like professionally. I'm trying new things, and some of it's just not working, which is totally okay. But like as a human being, I think sometimes when something's not working out well, we get like really defeated. And I always really try to be an upbeat person, but there are some seasons where I'm like, oh, like my bounce back isn't what it used to be, and again, that kind of just fluctuates. So tonight I wanted to chat a little bit more about that because I think it's something that hits all of us. Like whether we apply for a grant and it doesn't get funded, or we try a new strategy in our instruction and it totally just flops, or we were gearing up for like presenting at a board meeting and it wasn't well received, or like anything at all. It could be big things, it could be little things. And sometimes like in 1 week, it all happens in the same week. And you're just like, okay, forget it. Do you guys go through that too? I feel like we all do, right? Like even outside of education, I think that's just, that's a part of life. It's a part of life. So tonight I wanted to talk a little bit. I mean, I think for me, I needed to just like for my own like therapeutic release. So I wanted to share something with you all about one of my like coping mechanisms for when I'm trying to like bounce back and when I'm trying to not feel defeated and not sit in my feelings too long. Number one, like I want to acknowledge my feelings. It's okay to feel disappointed. It's okay to feel like upset or bummed. Like that's a valid feeling, right? But especially for all of us who work with multilingual learners, like sometimes we will have like weeks, like days or weeks or months or school years, like entire school years of just feeling defeated. And those years are really, really just difficult to cope with. Because we do see like the need for a lot of changes in our systems. And if it feels like we're the only one fighting, it can feel very lonely. It can feel just very deflating. And after a while, it can feel like demoralizing. And that's a reality. And you're not alone if you are in that season. You're not by yourself. I think a lot of us go through these things. And all of us have different coping mechanisms too. We just have to like check in with ourselves to make sure that they're healthy coping mechanisms as well, because sometimes like for me, I fall into some bad habits. And I will share one of the resources that really helped me is Mandy Freilich's work. She has written, I have a really powerful book, but I think it's in a bag because I was just talking about it with a team. I was in a district. And it's the Educators, like, or Reignite Your Flames, I think is the name of it. But it talks about like the idea of teacher burnout, which is, a real thing. But then it also goes through like, what's burnout and what's demoralization and like, what's the difference? And then how do you like mitigate, like, how do you process those feelings and what can you do about it? But this book, this is called the Educator's Matchbook. And it's a weekly guide. This is what it says: a weekly guide to reigniting your love of teaching, building resilience, and fighting burnout and disengagement. Like, like I need to do this all the time, right? But it's very much like a workbook. So if you are going through those feelings, I would definitely recommend checking out the work of Mandy Freilich. It's really remarkable, and it has helped me a whole lot. And there are certain things that I'll revisit and redo several times. And there's also, I have to give a credit to Darina Sackman-Ebwa of Believe Cafe. If you go on YouTube and type in like the acronym Believe, right? BELIEVE. I can spell. It's Wednesday night, but I still got it. But she did this entire series, and it really helped. She started it during the pandemic, and I watched all of the episodes. Like, there were a few that I watched several times. There was one about like cleaning out your junk drawer. So I have to give her a credit. If you are struggling with that, check out Darina Sackman-Ebwa. She's all over social media as well, but really, really powerful things for educators. And she's an educator who serves and supports multilingual students. So like the passion, the advocacy, like you will just feel so fired up anytime you talk to her or like hear her voice. Like it's just like an instant, like revitalizing moment. So that's probably, I'm going to spend a lot of time with Darina's videos this week. But I wanted to share. So sometimes, right, like we're talking about like coping with seasons of difficulty and seasons of maybe like hearing no, like, no, your grant's not funded. No, we can't do this thing, or no, we can't begin this book study, or whatever it might be, whatever no you get. We often teach our students about, building resiliency skills and coping with disappointment. And I'm great about like teaching kids about it. And I am awful at following my own advice, like truly awful, especially when it comes to like self-advocacy things. Like I can really do a great job, like saying that to students and creating learning experiences that enhance those skills. But as an adult, like as a human being, I'm awful at that. So I want to share one thing that I did with you, that I did with students, that I still do for myself. So one thing we always say, like, we want our students to take risks, linguistically take risks, content-wise take risks, try new things, try out for the basketball team, try out for this or that, right? Audition for the play. We want our students to take risks, especially as kids. Like, we want to build up those moments of confidence. And like, again, it's a life skill to like put yourself out there, right? And sometimes we'll get the part, or we'll, our shot will go in, or, we'll win the spelling bee, or we'll get a good score, whatever it might be. Sometimes it works out, and then sometimes it doesn't. And what do we do when it doesn't work out? So this is a really incredible picture book. And you've probably heard me talk about this one before, but it's called 1,000 No's. And this is really, really cool. So it's written by DJ Corkin, and then the illustrator is Dan Doherty. But oh my goodness, this book is so, so great. And it's called 1,000 No's because in the book, it talks about like, this little person trying to, like, they receive no's and they feel heavy and they don't feel good and they feel like defeating. But like, even just this picture, like, I feel like I could write an essay just about this picture. Or like, I could have a lot to say. Look at the expression on her face. Look at her carrying all of those no's. When you have those moments in your life where you get a lot of no's or rejections or moments like that feel like setbacks, do you feel like that as an adult? Because I sure do. I feel like I carry those with me all of the time. I just put them on my back and just walk around with them. I don't shake them off, right? I should, but I don't. I carry the nose with me everywhere. And then it's this beautiful, like, here, let me see if I can find it. So it's like, again, for her, this is a story of like, she has an idea and she gets a no from it. No after no after no came. Some of them made her idea challenging, but then she starts to like build on all of her no's. And then she climbs, right? And she's now getting excited. She needs more and more people to help her construct the no. And then she gets curious about the work and how her idea can end up. And then look at all the no's now. Now they look a little bit more fun. Now there's more color, right? And then on the 1,000th no, she sees her great idea. And I won't spoil the book. But as an adult, I need this book for every time I get a no or get rejections or whatever, right? And so, like, again, you could just read that book to students and call it a day, or you could read this book for you and call it a day. But the thing that I would do with students after this is I'd say, okay, now what do we do with all of these no's? Sometimes, right, like we can mentally construct something with those no's. If we're working on a writing piece and we get feedback that doesn't feel good in the moment, we can use that feedback as a tool to improve our craft, right? Absolutely. And then sometimes it's not as easy. Like there's not like an obvious next step of like, okay, here's what I need to do to fix it. And so in those moments, like, what do we do to build up ourselves? And so one thing that I always did with my students is I made our own greeting cards. And I always give the example, like if you go to the Dollar Tree or if you go to Target or like the grocery store, wherever you get like your greeting cards, like Hallmark, you go into the greeting card section and there's like a whole section that's dedicated to congratulations. There's all kinds. Congratulations on your achievement. Congratulations on your graduation. Congratulations on your wedding or your baby or whatever, right? Like there's a whole section dedicated to celebrating achievements. But if you look in that section, there's nothing that says, congratulations, you put yourself out there and it didn't work out. There's nothing like that. And I think there should be. Especially, right, for us as educators, like these are the messages we're trying to teach students, right? So because that greeting card doesn't exist, we like our own greeting cards. So I chose to use pink because that is a color that brings me a lot of joy. All right. And I'm even writing with pink Mr. Sketch because, again, it brings me joy. So I want this experience to feel good and feel positive for myself because today I am doing this for myself. All right. So on the front, I'm going to write the word congratulations. Let's see if I can make it fit. All right. Congratulations. And now maybe I'm going to decorate it. For the sake of this, I'm going a little bit faster, but when I'm really doing this with students, I want to show like I'm taking my time because I deserve that. Like I deserve, right, to take time to celebrate that I took a risk and it didn't work out. So congratulations. And then now in the center, maybe I'm not going to use a marker. Now I'm going to use a pen. Okay. And again, I would choose a pen that feels good to write with. Like as teachers, you all know what I'm talking about, right? Because we all have our favorite pens. We have like our Flair pens or whatever, right? We're geeks about our pens. All right. So I'm going to write a message to myself. Dear Carly, you worked really hard, but it didn't work out this time. All right, I'm gonna keep going later on, but I'm gonna give myself time, and I'm going to give myself the self-talk that I need. So again, I'm showing my students like how I'm crafting my words to like honor what I tried, acknowledge that it didn't work out, but also tell myself that I'm proud of myself for doing whatever it was. So I would finish out that message. And again, I would take my time with it and show students like, well, what would make me feel really good right now to hear or to say to myself? Like, what self-talk do I need? This think aloud part, I think, is really, really important for students to see you, again, like reflecting on what you need, what your heart needs to hear. So I would keep going. And I'm going to end it with, love you, love Carly. So again, dear Carly, love Carly. This is a note to myself. And then when I'm done, I'm going to decorate it. Maybe I'll put some stickers. Maybe I'll put some little things on it, some little sparkles, whatever makes me feel good, right? And then I'm going to display it somewhere for me, for myself. So for me today, I'm putting it on my shelf. And then can I show you guys this? So this is a book here that my cousin got me, and it's like my favorite thing ever. And it's a Legally Blonde like journal. And it says, what? Like it's hard? Isn't that great? You guys, I love Elle Woods. I love Elle Woods so much. So now I'm keeping that up. And again, if I'm doing this with students, I'm going to hang this up somewhere, like either near my desk or somewhere in the classroom, so that students see that as an adult, I still need this. If you do this with students, like, again, this might be like a generalized lesson. So like you wouldn't do this like, oh, this one kid didn't make the team, so we're all going to do this and call that kid out. We're not going to do that, right? But so you might make this like a generalized lesson, and then you might collect it, or you might have students, depending on age, store it somewhere in their locker or their desk or their agenda, like a planner, whatever. Or again, you might store it yourself. And then whenever students need to access their no card, they can pull it out and they can, again, acknowledge the work that they've done and the risks that they've taken and the way that they put themselves out there. And they can acknowledge, right? This is a really cool thing to do if your students are okay with you reading it, because that could be a cool, and again, I would ask consent for that. I would ask students, is it okay if I read them? And give the students the opportunity to say, no, you can't, maestra. No, this is just for me, and respect that and say, cool, that's great. Or if students say like, yes, you can read it, that's fine. Just like, don't share it with the world, right? But keep those off to the side somewhere. But as the teacher now, you're looking at the language, right? Like the words that students say, like when I'm feeling most vulnerable, these are what I need to tell myself. So again, sometimes that also translates into, that's what I need to hear from other people. So that can be a really, really great empowering moment and a moment of connection for us with our students. But again, for us as adults, who, because many of us feel like we push and push and push in our systems and we don't always get the success that we want right away, we need to create no cards for ourselves. You deserve that. You deserve to celebrate every time that you are attempting to move your system forward, right? And don't get discouraged. Again, there might be moments where you need to pause and take a step back or take a break. That's great. That's healthy. There might be a season where you need to say no and prioritize other pieces. That is okay. You're still a good advocate. You're still a good educator and agent of change. But allow yourself, right, those moments to reflect and celebrate the work that you're already doing. So again, it's a great picture book. It's a nice one just for our own teacher hearts as well. The other piece I wanted to talk about is like a smile file. And I hear Tara Martin, she's a really cool author and speaker. And I hear her talking about a smile file a lot. Sometimes these are digital. So I have like a digital one that I keep on my desktop. And it's like, I think I called it inspiration folder. And so I'm like a words of affirmation person, like all the way. So if someone like emails me something like after a workshop or after a conversation, or there's like a text message or someone posts something online that makes me feel good, like I will screenshot it and it goes into that folder. And I don't share those, right? That's just for me. But it helps me to stay encouraged when I get those like seasons of no. But another smile file might be like a physical one. And this is like such a hot mess, you guys. It's a hot mess. And it's filled with a lot of different things. Like some of it is cards and like handwritten notes and stuff, but others are like little mementos from like a great conference. So this is one that I got from the Teach Better conference. And it's a stress ball, but I don't use it for stress. I use it as like a memento from a really great conference that made me feel really good. I have different cards from like my children, my own kids. I have other handwritten cards from like people I've worked with over the years. Just things that have made me feel good. I have a cute little card from my son that my parents signed. So it could be a lot of different things. There's a scrunchie in here, lots and lots of different things. So things that just make me feel really good, and like physical mementos. Again, it looks like a hot mess. But I keep this in my little lockers back there. And so when I'm having a day, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to play some uplifting music. And I'm going to go through some of these things and try to bring myself some smiles. So that can be a helpful thing. We also, like in my classroom with my third graders, we did an inspiration wall. And anytime, like we kind of collected different things throughout the year, and the kids had full control over the wall. They decided what went on. They had full like control. They decided where in the space, like where in our classroom it went, what it looked like, what colors we used, all of the things. And I think that was such a good life skill too, because now we're having conversations about like, whoa, when the author said this, or in the speech, when the speaker said this, like that made me feel something really good, that inspired me, that moved me. And so we would write it out and we would capture it and we would post it on the wall. Sometimes we also found inspiration from art and images, and those would also go on the wall. Sometimes it's like from our favorite celebrities, or like we had a lot of wrestling quotes on the wall, because that's what, right? That was a passion of my students. So we kept that in the space. And so I think that's a really good thing. And then students eventually created their own inspiration walls in their homes. And that was kind of like an accidental thing. And it kind of took off. So it was a good thing. And then parents, some of the families also started to create their own inspiration spaces in their homes. And so it was just a cool moment, because again, it just kind of connects all of us. Like we all need to hold on to those moments that feel good to us and inspire us and keep us going during seasons of like, difficulty. The other thing I'll share with you is this hand shredder. Now, this is not my idea. And I need to find the person. I think it was like the responsive counselor. I will find it and I will link it in the comments, because it was just so good. So again, not my idea. It's not my idea. But the way I've used it has changed over the years. So you get like a little paper shredder. You can get these on Amazon. Like if you just type in like hand shredder, I think that's all you type in at Amazon. These were like $11, $12, something like that. So it comes with like a little handle. And it's like nice and easy, like small, right? Portable, easy. And then you just put together the little cranker here. Boop. Okay, so now it goes like that. So what you can do now, let me see if I can find a piece of paper. Where's all my paper, you guys? Okay. So what we can do with this is when those moments of like self-doubt creep in, either as an adult or students, right? So here's a very vulnerable one. This is so vulnerable, you guys. Okay, but I'm going to share it, right? spirit of transparency here. So I would put whatever my heart is like holding on to and like I'm carrying it around like that character in the book. I'm going to put this on a piece of paper. The way that the counselor that I found this idea from, she said, like, if it's an anxiety or a worry, or I had a bad dream, like I would capture that on a piece of paper. But for me, I'm capturing my feelings, my thoughts, my like the opposite of an affirmation. I don't know if there's a word for that. Like a destructive thought, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. But so like when I get that no, and I make myself the no card, I might still need a little extra, right? So I'm going to capture my like feelings of defeat. So I captured it. Now what I can do with it is now I can fold it up. It's on a little piece of, can you see that? You guys like Hello Kitty? I love Sanrio. I swear, I'm like a little kid still. But now what I do, oh goodness, let me see if I can do this. Okay. I have to like get it started. It's hard to do this. Okay. It's hard to do this with one hand. Okay. So now can you see? It's like creating, right? It's shredding that destructive mindset. And so that's a really cool way for me to like visually capture like the release of that feeling. Like it's gone. It's gone. I am actively shredding it. I am physically shredding that idea. I am letting it go into the world, and I'm allowing myself to release it. Okay. I could do this with a lot of other things too. Again, the way that the high school counselor used it, she had students capture like fears, anxieties, things like that, and they would write it down and then they would shred it. They would shred it. She wouldn't. So it'd be them doing it, right? You could also do this for like shattering mindsets that are problematic in your system. Okay. A lot of different ways you can use that. Maybe I should write a blog post and capture a few examples. So anyway, so now what I can do with this is I can be done. I can set this off to the side. Maybe I put this up on my shelf for this week as a reminder, like, Carly, you let go of that. Like you released it. It is gone. It is shredded, right? But I will tell you, just because I shredded it, it doesn't mean it's gone, right? But it might be the action that I needed, and like that visual reminder of like that release. It's gone. So I might keep this up on my shelf. What I can also do is allow myself to reshred it a few times. So again, just because I shredded it doesn't mean it's gone. So I might have to shred it every single day for a week or 2 weeks or whatever. But then what I can do after I shred it is now I have this like, it looks like confetti a little bit, doesn't it? So if I were to take now this little container of all of my shredded like things that I've released, or problematic mindsets, or my fears and worries and anxieties. And now I can take this and maybe I keep this out somewhere. Or maybe if I'm doing this with staff or with students, I sprinkle this on our tables, right? And just mix it up real good. Cause some students are going to try to like put it back together. But like we're spreading it on the table and we're celebrating that release. Now it looks like confetti. It's a party. Like we are so excited that we've captured that and we're tossing it into the river. Like we're getting rid of it. It's gone. It's not something that we're going to hold on to anymore. So we can sprinkle it around depending on your space and the timing and the level of your kids. You might throw it up in the air and dance around it and have a dance party, like stepping on it. You can get really playful with it. And then of course have everyone pitch in to clean up so you're not leaving a mess behind. But this is a really cool tool. Isn't that fun? The hand shredder, just a paper, like hand cranked paper shredder. But that is something that I needed to do for myself today. So if you have any tools for ways that you kind of keep yourself encouraged during seasons of no? We would love to hear it in the chat or in the comments. I also know this came up last week. Sometimes people are like, they want to contribute thoughts and ideas in the comments, but they don't want to do so with their name on it. So if you would like to contribute thoughts and ideas anonymously, send the IRC a DM on Facebook or Twitter or whatever platform. And then you can share. I wanted to share from Wind Down Wednesday, and then share your piece. And then we can share that with our network anonymously. So I want to honor that as well. So anyway, thank you all so much for joining in tonight for this topic. I think my heart really needed that, so I feel better. So thanks for letting me get all that out today. But stay encouraged in the work and take breaks when you need it, because you deserve it. You don't have to earn breaks. You don't earn rest. You deserve rest. So I hope everybody has a beautiful, beautiful holiday next week. I won't be doing a Wind Down Wednesday next week. So I'll be back the week of the state conference. So looking forward to that. But thank you all so much. And